I know I look like crap right now, but let's do the story time nobody asked for. So I also did post this to the Charlotte Dobre Reddit thread. I didn't get many answers on that. I got like one, but that's fine because I was going to share it here anyway. And just because I already have that written out, I'm just going to tell it like I told it, and that I'm going to go off that. And there may be small changes in case I forgot something. So this was January of last year, when I broke up with ex number two, who, for the sake of this, we'll call Jack. I don't want to do names, even though his name is probably common enough that you wouldn't be able to know, because there are a lot of people in this area that have that same name. So, but for the sake of this, because I don't want to name drop, we're just going to call him Jack. So I started dating Jack my sophomore year. I had just gotten out of a toxic relationship, and I had realized later on that I had rushed into things, and that I shouldn't have rushed into that after um being in a toxic relationship, because at that time I needed time to work on myself. But my brain didn't think like that. It was just, oh, yeah, I'm in pain. Let's cover up that pain. So, and I hate saying this because I don't like pointing this out with people, but Jack was extremely insecure, and we did technically basically have the same past, kind of. If you don't know, when I was 6 years old, I was SA'd by my father, and I was constantly seeing him abuse my siblings. And I'm not sure if this helps with anything, but we do think that is a possibility that I am on the autism spectrum, so I am just going to keep that in there. And I don't mean any negative connotations with that. I don't know if that could have any negative connotations, just by saying it like that. With that being said, I would constantly overstep my own boundaries, just to keep him happy, which obviously wasn't enough, because whatever the heck he told his friend, the way she interpreted it was that I was abusive and stuff. So yeah, he was extremely clingy, and I was okay with short periods of time, but it was like 24/7 type of thing. Well, not exactly, but you get the idea. When I'm being touched for longer periods of time, I can't handle it. It stresses me out, and then my reaction to that is I get irritated, and sometimes lash out. Now I will admit that was my fault. I should have stated that boundary more than I have, but when I tried to say I didn't want to be touched anymore, it would upset him. So me being the people pleaser I am, I would just give in and push myself more than I needed to. And I guess when I tried to gently tell him like that I needed space, he would think that I was mad at him. I wasn't. But like I guess that's what he thought, because even over text he was constantly asking if I was upset with him. Another thing during this relationship he would do is he would send these monthly anniversary texts, um saying how happy he was that he met me and all that, and then somehow in some of them it would somehow go to, if I hadn't met you, I would have gone with my original plan after graduating and unalived myself. Now, I don't think I ever got a screenshot of this, but that is something he would constantly bring up, even in person. I remember, like, the first time I went over to his place, that he said that, and it kind of just made me uncomfortable, but I didn't say anything at the time. Anyway, after a bit, my mental health just kind of spiraled, and then I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety because I was having chest pains, which they don't think is anxiety anymore, because that's always how that goes, isn't it? But that's a story for a different time. So I told him that I was breaking up with him and that I was just taking a break from dating in general, because I needed time to focus on me, and I couldn't do that while in a relationship, because I was more focused on I would always be more focused on my partner than myself. I did tell him that it was nothing to do with him. I reassured him that he did nothing wrong, and that this was just a me problem, and that I shouldn't have rushed into things the way that I did, which that's true. I shouldn't have. I do put the blame on myself for that. And that's where I made this mistake of suggesting that we could still be friends. With this being said, after after breaking up, we would still eat in our room together. This was before I went homebound, but he was starting to become overbearing. And what I mean by this is he would constantly ask what my plans were, what I was doing, things like that. And I tried to gently put it, hey, you're making me uncomfortable, but that didn't go across, obvious. And he had also was also asking about this guy friend that I hadn't talked to in 3 years. We were, I come in contact with him again, and we were, just talking about catching up. We were catching up. That's what we were doing. And I made sure, because I was still in a relationship at the time, because I started talking to this friend again back in December. I made sure that it was strictly just friendly. There was no flirting. There was none of that, because I don't like cheating. I don't like that. That doesn't sit well with me. I don't think that cheating is right. So I made sure to keep it like just friends. He would do this multiple times a day, and it got to a point where I wasn't gentle with it anymore. I literally said, "Hey, you need to stop." And his response to that was he wasn't doing anything wrong, despite me telling him to stop multiple times. So I eventually just stopped texting him back. And this was after I started doing homebound. And with that being said, he would still text, but it wasn't as much. And it was just stupid little things that were just annoying. That's mostly all he would text. Well, one day I made a Discord server for any one of my YouTube subscribers, just to play video games, chat, chill, whatever. And this one account asked to join, and I let them. And I was a bit paranoid with everything going on, so, and I had this gut feeling that I needed to look more into that account. Something just felt completely off. And when I checked to see how old that account was, it was literally just recently made, like literally a few days before that. Or maybe the day of, it was one of those, but it was just a recently made account. Now I'm still not sure if there's a way to block an account on YouTube. I should know this because I'm Gen Z, but my brain's not all here, so so I think I may have actually just hidden his account from my YouTube, but I did block him on my other socials, so just because I didn't want him seeing what I was doing in my daily life and everything. So anyway, this new account that I joined, the Discord, ended up private messaging me, so it wasn't in the group chat. And this person was doing the same thing Jack was doing, just was being more chill. Which, while I was still paranoid about it, I didn't think much of it. But I was being careful about it because, again, I was being paranoid about it. But after a bit, I started noticing patterns in the texting style, and it was the same as Jack's. Now, I know that might sound weird, like, how are you supposed to just detect patterns in the texting? It was easy, especially with his, I'm sorry, his, the way he texts wasn't the best, and sometimes I couldn't even understand it, which I know is how a lot of people are now, but, especially on the internet, but his was just bad in general. Well, then there was this new account on Instagram that had messaged me on my small business page, calling me a horrible biatch who treats men like crap, and that I was a horrible person for being abusive and cheating. Again, I didn't understand this because I had made sure to keep that conversation with friend I had lost contact with completely friend zoned. Like, that was no flirting or anything. And I didn't understand the abusive part either because, as I said, and I guess those couple of times that I did lash out is what's being referred to. But again, I don't know if he told her more than just, like, I don't know if he was over exaggerating everything. So I'm running out of time. There's going to need to be a part 2. Part 2 of my everlasting problem with my ex. Picking up where we left off in the first part, this random account had messaged me on my small business account and was calling me a horrible person for cheating and being abusive. which as I said, I didn't understand either of those because the friend I'd come back into contact with, I'd made sure that was completely friendly, just friends. No flirting, none of that. We were just talking as friends would talk. And then the abusiveness, I didn't get that either unless he was over exaggerating the small bursts I would do, as I said, and that was only when I was mainly in contact with for long periods of time, or he kept repeating questions that I had already given the answer to. Even went as far as saying they were dating and that he was an amazing man and stuff like that, and that she was sorry for whoever my next partner would be. Actually, let me rephrase that. She was sorry for my boyfriend. Mind you, I wasn't dating. I wasn't dating. I literally just gotten out of the relationship not that long ago. So I was literally sticking to my word and focusing on myself. I was taking a break from dating. Now I did figure out who this was almost immediately just because he rarely had any friends. Like he only had a couple of friends. One of those being a female friend. So I figured that out pretty quickly that that was her. Now I didn't think much of it at the time, even though like they were pretty much close. I'm starting to have second thoughts about that. But at the time I just didn't care because I figured they'd been friends forever. So it was like, hey, okay, sure. But you know what? After some time, it had hit me that everything she was saying that I did was the same thing he told me that his ex before me did to him. And I mean, when this ex came around him at school, he was literally trying to get away from her and, like, literally just wanted to be away from her at all times. So I don't know if something actually did happen, or if he was faking it. But given that was the same exact story, I'm pretty sure it was just. And eventually, Jack stopped texting me, and I thought it was over. I thought he had moved on. My best friend, who mind you was another guy friend, who we'll just call H, for the sake of this, told me everything, and I mean he literally told me everything that Jack was telling him because Jack's thing was, well, he's my best friend too, mind you. I had literally introduced them together. Well, and by that I mean that together because apparently H knew him before because I guess they quit talking after so long. But no, H told me everything that was being said about me by him. And the main way I had found out about Jack creeping my socials was because of a video where I posted myself cutting my hair. Now keep in mind, I was homebound. I didn't go out. And the few times I did was with my mom going to the grocery store. But that whole week and a few days after I cut my hair, I hadn't been out at all. But I had gotten another gut feeling. So I asked H to ask Jack if he saw what I did to my hair. And he did, and said he hated it. And me being my petty self, I keep it short because I know he's still stalking my accounts. And the thought of him hating me even more just makes me happy. And honestly, I think I look better with short hair. I'm more confident and it's not as heavy. Eventually, I did make a group chat between me, Jack, and H, and I kept H there just so nothing would get out of hand, and confronted him about all of this. Mind you, I had tried confronting him earlier about this, and it was met with, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think you know what you're talking about, and I talked to this about this with a friend, and we both think you're just crazy. I know you did not. I may be crazy to a certain degree, but you're making your stuff a little bit too obvious. Maybe try to be more discreet. Now, the reason he said I was cheating, this was because I had started talking to that friend again, which I am just going to go ahead and add here. At the time, I didn't have any feelings for him, and I was taking a break, but eventually, after so long, we did get together. I'm happier now, and, even though I'm still trying to decide whether I'm actually pansexual or if I'm aro ace. So that whole time after I had broken up with him, which was at this time about 4 or 5 months, he thought we were still together. Jack literally thought we were still together. Jack said that taking a break from dating doesn't mean breaking up. And when I tell you at that moment, I screamed and laughed my butt off. I did. I'm pretty sure the whole town I live in could hear me. Apparently, he had only heard what he wanted to because even after breaking up with him, I had told him multiple times, "We're done. I'm not with you anymore. We've broken up. That we're not together." Needless to say, I pointed that out and basically laughed at him, both in real life and in text. And when I pointed this out, he didn't text back for a bit, if not at all. But that didn't stop him from stalking my small business channel and just saying random crap on there. Again, I just hid him from my channel, because I don't know if YouTube actually does blocking. If it does, I haven't figured it out, and I know I'm part of Gen Z and I'm supposed to know all this stuff, but I don't. But to keep you updated with today, when the beginning of the school year started, he was still, as I said, going through my small business stuff. And I did, as I said, I hid his account. Well, as I pointed out recently in some of my other videos, he is still viewing my profile under his art account. Now, I didn't block him at the time when it was first created because it went under my people you may know. I didn't block him because, he hadn't viewed my profile. And I was like, okay, well, maybe he's finally moved on. No. It's almost been a year and a half, and he's still at it. But yeah, in the Charlotte Dobre Reddit thread, I did ask if I would be the a-hole for pressing charges, or at least getting a restraining order or something, on him just because he's doing this. My mom has a friend whose husband is a lawyer, and we've been talking about that with them. And so we're trying to figure that all out. I have screenshots of almost everything. The things I did think to screenshot. But if you've gone through something similar or have a different story involving your exes, comment below because I'm nosy and I want to hear.